You know that feeling, right? That weird, heavy quiet that falls between you and someone you really care about? There was no big fight, no dramatic goodbye, just silence. It's gotta be one of the most confusing and honestly painful things you can go through. So let's dive into that heavy silence together. Let's try to figure out what's really going on under the surface.
Wow. This really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The words stop, but the feelings, they definitely don't. You're just kind of stuck in this weird limbo where the quiet feels louder and more intense than any argument ever did.
So, what is really happening in that quiet space? I mean, it feels like an ending, but is it? Is it just this empty void, or is there something, deeper going on? That's the big question we're going to try and answer. And right off the bat, here's maybe a little piece of comfort for you. That sudden quiet, it rarely means the story is completely over. In fact, a lot of the time, it's not a closed book at all. It's more like a really complicated chapter that, frankly, neither of you knows how to write just yet. See, what's really going on inside is this silent battle. And the crazy thing is, both of you are probably fighting the exact same war, just from your own separate trenches. You've got pride wrestling with love on one side, and on the other, you have fear just completely paralyzing that urge to reach out, to just send that one simple text. All right, so let's dig into the first of three big truths that are happening under all that quiet. This first one, it's all about how the connection is still there, even when the words aren't. And this is absolutely key. Your hearts are still talking to each other even after the words have stopped. The communication didn't actually end, you see, it just changed. It's transformed. That link between you two, it's gone from out in the open to something way more subtle, something happening on the inside. Let's call it a silent conversation. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that constant dialogue running in the back of your head. You're replaying memories. You find yourself wondering what they're up to, if they're okay. You're just feeling that space where they used to be. And here's the thing. Chances are they're doing the exact same thing. And look, here are the signs that this conversation is still happening. I mean, does any of this sound familiar? You hear a certain song and bam, they're right there in your head. You catch yourself wondering if they're okay. And then there's that big one. You wonder if they miss you too. Both of you are probably just secretly waiting, hoping the other person will be the one to break the silence. All of this, it's proof that connection is still alive and kicking. It's just quiet. Okay, let's move on to the second truth of silence. This one is all about how the universe, in a way, forces you to feel things. The silence isn't just an empty space, it's an active force. And believe it or not, it actually has a purpose. Think about it. When we're talking and texting all the time, it's easy to kind of distract ourselves from what's really going on, from the deeper truths. Well, silence strips all that away. It just rips off the band-aid. It gets rid of the buffer and makes you sit with what you actually feel. So here's how that works. First, all the daily distractions just disappear. No more good morning texts or late night calls to hide behind. Then, once those are gone, all your emotions get turned up to 11. Regret feels way sharper, and the memories come flooding back, stronger than before. And maybe most importantly, it reveals the true value of that person, because now you have to feel what their absence is really like. So maybe try to look at it this way. Sometimes the universe creates this silence not to end a connection, but to finally show you just how meaningful it really was all along. It's not a punishment, it's a revelation. And this leads us perfectly into our third and final truth about silence. It's the bond's great test. Because this quiet period, it's not just a time for reflection. Oh no.
It's a critical test. It's a fork in the road that's going to decide where this connection goes next. It's funny. Words can sometimes cover things up, hide a weak connection. But silence? Silence can't hide anything. It tests the very foundation of what you had. It makes the bond stand on its own 2 feet. And from there, well, two very different paths can open up.
And these are the two potential paths. Path one, the bond just fades away. It can't handle the test. Or path two, the bond actually gets stronger. The silence proves how real it was.
So, what happens when the bond fades? Well, it's usually a slow process. The memories start to lose their edge. Life starts moving forward, but on new, separate paths. And eventually, that silence just becomes permanent. It's the new normal. But what if the bond strengthens? Well, that's a whole different story. The thought of them never really goes away. Their presence is still felt, tucked away in your memories. And you get this deep gut feeling that the story isn't finished. It feels like the bond was never really broken. It was just waiting for the right time to start again. So, okay, let's put all these pieces together. It's time to reframe this whole thing. It's about finding meaning in the quiet. This isn't just a chapter ending, it might just be a very important part of the story. Here's the big takeaway, really. Silence is not always the end of the story. Sometimes it's just a pause. And if you can start to see it that way, not as a full stop, but as a comma, it changes everything. It becomes a space for growth, for understanding, for reflection. And in that pause, you might be learning some pretty important things. Maybe you're finally seeing the true value of each other, or maybe you're being forced to heal wounds you didn't even know you had. It could be about becoming stronger on your own, or even learning how to let go with peace. The thing is, the silence is never meaningless. It always carries a lesson. It doesn't matter if you end up back together or on totally different paths. This time is never, ever wasted. It has something to teach you. So, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Instead of constantly asking yourself, when is this going to end? Try asking a different question. What is the silence in my story trying to teach me? Because honestly, the answer to that question might just be the key that unlocks your next chapter.